I'd like to tell you that the Lauren Faust helmed reboot of DC Superhero Girls is a bold step forward for the franchise, and a surefire ton of fun. I'd like to. But I can't because even though my feelings are mostly positive, I still need to acknowledge some problems I have with it and some possible pitfalls. Anyway, on March 8th, on Cartoon Network, we'll get to see what the mastermind of MLP Generation 4 can do with the girls of the DC Universe. On paper, Lauren seems like the perfect choice, considering a long track record in animation and experience with the superhero genre. And it's entirely possible that this all works out for the best. But DC Superhero Girls feels
about as fresh as last week's catch of the day.
Yeah, the group dynamic feels like a continuation of MLP. The action scenes feel like they could have been in an episode of the Powerpuff Girls, and the humor is drawing from the Disney tween sitcom well a lot.
In marketing speak, it's retro.
Fair enough. If you like that kind of thing, DC Superhero Girls will scratch that Cartoon Network circa 2002 itch. Now, let's look at the characters. The audience POV is Batgirl, aka Barbara Gordon. Even though her costume is a note-for-note duplication of the Adam West era, all that purple just makes her feel like Twilight with the adorkable at toxic levels.
A lot of that is Tara's doing.
Reimagining one of the smartest and most technologically proficient members of the Bat family as a dorky fangirl doesn't feel right. Next up, we have Kara Danvers, aka Supergirl, who's the most radical departure from her traditional interpretation, and not in a good way. This version is a green dress and a bottle of black hair dye away from being Buttercup. But I lived through Red Lantern Supergirl and Queen Bee of the Female Furies. I can get over Kara's punk rock phase. Next, the part of Goofy Foreigner will be played by Diana, aka Wonder Woman. DC Superhero Girls seems to be sticking with the idea of aging Wendy down to fit with the other characters, rather than framing her as a mentor of some kind to the canonically younger heroes. I honestly don't have strong feelings about her other than I hope they haven't shown their best jokes already. 'Cause I'm real sick of her under her super serious facade, she's a silly Billy shtick, and we just got started. Now let's talk about Flutterbee. I mean Bumbleshy. I mean this person, the one in the running with Batgirl for the smart one. Much like Diana, I don't have strong feelings about Bumblebee.
That's a brilliant example of meta-narrative, making the shy wallflower extremely boring. How clever.
Then there's Jessica, one of the many, many, many Green Lanterns from Earth.
Didn't they make the old host of The Daily Show a Green Lantern?
Wouldn't surprise me, they'll let just about anyone in the Corps these days. Anyway, because Jessica is a fairly new character, first appearing in 2013, she doesn't struggle with the weight of previous incarnations like some of the other characters. Finally, there's the one complete success in the main cast, Zatanna. She comes off with a great combination of self-impressed and cheesy, you know, like a stage magician. The she can't control her powers trope has been done, but she's supposed to be young, so I can dig it. The only thing I don't like is her superhero costume. It's so much more generic than her old magician outfit, but she still has that, so I can't get too upset. Let's move on to the action. One of the problems the previous incarnation of DC Superhero Girls had was the lack of conflict, which doesn't work in a superhero show.
You can only save the world from meteors so many times.
Like I said before, the action scenes look like they were heavily inspired by the Powerpuff Girls. Silly but fast-paced and very creative. I'm expecting good things from this cast. Batgirl and Bumblebee have arsenals of crazy gadgets. Supergirl looks like she's capable of Man of Steel levels of collateral damage, and Green Lantern and Zatanna can basically do anything. So there's no reason DCSG won't impress with its action.
Unless, of course, they choose to waste their time with pointless sitcom nonsense.
I sure hope not. It looks like a lot of the DC Rogues Gallery is in play, and it would be a shame to waste them. I'm less impressed with the comedy, but that's hard to gauge since we only have shorts and clips. But there's clearly going to be some lol-so-random and over-the-top reactions. Hopefully the ambient cuteness and voice acting will stop it from getting cringy, because this can go full Bat credit card on us if we're not careful. To To sum up my feelings, I'm optimistic about this incarnation of DC superhero girls. I'm not in love with some of the character choices they've made, particularly Batgirl and Supergirl. But there will be at least some battles with villains and monsters, which is a must. And I'm hoping that the comedy will be appropriate and not drown the story with unnecessary tonal shifting. Until the show premieres on March 8th, cross your fingers. Here's hoping we have a good one. Now, if you're interested in more reviews of anime, movies, TV shows, comic books, or video games, check out my channel right here on YouTube and find my Facebook and Deviantart pages for video updates and more. Thank you for watching.
Hey kids, today's show is brought to you by the letter 4 and the number potato! I'm a stupid private.